Hello, everybody. Welcome to It's a Long Story, a place where we roll dice, we tell stories, and we create magic. We are here with most of the crew. Kay will be joining us a little bit later. Nathan is dealing with Mother Nature, and we wish him the best of luck in that. But yeah, welcome. For those who have no idea what this is, hi, we're a D&D live stream that runs every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, having 5 parties living, existing, and breathing in the same homebrew world, the wonderful, beautiful world of Astera. And because I did this out of turn, we are here right now with the new moon. So everybody take a look at your camera, wave, and say hi.
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 Hello.
Hi. Before we jump into tonight, just some announcements. Only thing is, as I mentioned last week, pretty soon we'll be jumping back into doing some one-shot stuff. That'll be the only update on that. That'll be something that'll probably be happening more early afternoons, but it'll be open for all, any and all, to join. Once we get to 6, we have to kind of close it there. But if you guys are interested in possibly playing some of the one-shots that either you haven't played before or you're just new to the channel, you can do so. They'll be coming out probably in March. That's the goal, is to kind of start doing some of these in March. But that will be, you can check those out at startplaying.com/GM/It's a Long Story. Should get that slide up at some point. That'd be a good idea. Yeah. So more on that as we'll probably say we'll have more on that by next week. And also, if you're wishing to support the channel here, first off, thank you so much. But also, you can do so by checking out our YouTube. By following, liking, subscribing, that whole thing on YouTube or Twitch, whatever you're watching us from. You can also check out our Instagram and TikTok. The little thing for that is down below at It's a Long Story _TTRPG. You can see some of our most favoritist moments, as Kay is continually updating that. Thank you, Kay. That is it for announcement stuff. So I'm very excited for tonight. Like I was telling these guys, I spent a lot of time prepping this. So if he, to quote the great Dolph Lundgren, if he dies, he dies. But before we jump into tonight, we do need to get a recap of where we left off with New Moon. So, Chelsea, please take it away.
Oh, my heavens. Okay. So we picked up with Green and Nadim arriving back at the group on the road, only to find that Prisha is gone. We decide that even though we need to find Prisha, and we need to discuss the objects that we found within our challenges, so far a mirror that Ianthe can't let go of and a key for Grian. We need to move forward. We do try to contact Prisha, but she's either out of range or somewhere else. She's certainly not dead. There's no way. We decide to move forward to find the ferryman again, to see if he has any ideas. When we do come upon the ferryman, he offers a satchel sitting in a dugout grave. Titian grabs it and does find a fish inside. This fish has Prisha's head attached to it. It's the only fish in the bag. Titian decides to keep that from the group, and lies about who it was. The ferryman then informs us that the path forward is down into the grave through the coffin. So we do decide to go down into the coffin. You guys are killing me with the chat. As they're heading down, Grian offers the ferryman some elvish weed, who then reverts back to his old self, pulls Grian in and starts asking where Marion is before going back to his ferryman self and letting go of Grian. As we proceed into this coffin thing, we all become separated, and everyone finds themselves in a different scenario. Green finds himself in a dark hallway alone with nobody in sight. He finds a room with music, chairs, and a stage, and watches a play of sorts about the beginning of his life. He watches a baby in floating in a river. We hear the baby crying, and then a paper mache. What do you say, Kieran? Comes and takes the baby away. Adim finds himself on a boat under a bright sky. He climbs into the rowboat and finds a satchel, using shape water to move the boat forward. Looking in the bag, he finds a large rock. Ianthe finds herself in a room of some sort of like mirrors. She faces reflections of herself, of her mother, and her friend Abel, who reflect maybe some not so positive traits back on her. Jet hears the voice of Codex, who tries to show that Jet is alone, isolated like he was before, but Jet persists. The world turns to snow and stone as he sees the path to his home, and he moves forward into the light. Titian tries to reach out to the group using the walkie-talkie, but he is answered by his brother Hobbs, who lets Titian know that Titian is a burden on their family and questions who abandoned whom. As Titian moves forward into a forest, he comes across a bone that has been picked clean. He finds a trail and follows it along, where he meets a humanoid figure named Ada, a new Tabaxi friend. Unsure. They chat and get to know each other, and that's as much as I got. Man, a lot happened.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you so much, Chelsea. Anything else we need to add, friends? Also, apologize for the confusion on chat. I forgot until I actually saw the list that I was doing this in reverse to the marching order you guys were in. But I found it, so we're good. Anything we need to add for the recap?
I mean, I don't know if that's important, but I seem to be going back in Adim's history. I went from
That's right.
from Kofi's ship, and now I'm coming up on my first ship that I ever sailed on, the Dragonfly. So I'm going backwards, and Kofi wouldn't talk to me and made me go forward.
Correct. All Kofi did was just point forward. What was that?
Yeah, the Kofi's mad at us, so I get
But
that.
it seems like forward for Adim is backwards.
Interesting.
Ain't that the way? That funny to turn up the music and then realize it was muted. It's good. Love that. Okay, cool. All right. I think without further ado, I think it is time. So above board, we're going to just kind of like, I'm not going to role play Jet with Jet not here. We ended with Ianthe as Ianthe was moving forward into the darkness of the hallway. So next, we're going to Titian. Titian, you are continuing forward on a slightly overgrown but clearly some sort of dirt path as you are walking opposite of Ada, moving as much as you can through the bushes and trying to hide from being seen on anyone that is in the path. But you are, besides meeting this new Tabaxi person, you are otherwise alone and searching for the rest of your party. I would like you to give me a perception check.
Okay. Okay. That'll be a 16.
16. With a 16, you're moving forward. I would say probably at I'd say half speed if you're trying to remain stealthy and moving through the bushes. I will. Okay, cool. You notice that the pathway seems to be starting to kind of wind to and fro. With a 16, you notice that the path itself, though remaining mostly as dirt, you notice what looks to be some what might be like these, like, I say from your vantage point, kind of looks like little tiny sort of like rock formation or like pebbles along each side that seem to be like a I'd say like a bone white. That seemed to kind of like line each sort of side of the path. When some of the forest floor seems to kind of like cake over it. Those like sort of pebbles seem to kind of move over it, continuing to kind of showcase a line on where to go. But other than that, say for the next few minutes, you're moving on, unfettered by anything. What would you like to do here?
Okay. I don't feel like the Rocky Talkie helped initially. In the conversations I was having with Ada last session, I think we kind of came to an agreement to not like keep asking each other questions and delve deep, as we are, very much strangers. But can I get a notice as to? And I know Kay's. I know Kay's like not here right now to play their character, but like, could I just keep an eye out, because this is a new person, and get an idea for what they're doing in this moment as well?
Sure. In this moment, you notice that I would say carrying over that 16, you see they seem to be 16 is enough to be able to give an insight check, I will say.
That's not going to do it. 7.
7. Okay. What you're noticing, and I'll say maybe this is sort of distracting you a little bit. Tabaxis, from your experience, are uncommonly fast creatures, even faster than Leonin in some cases. There's often, sort of things that are said in the military barracks of the Roar about Tabaxis, and really saying, well, of course they're fast. They're never carrying much weight, are they? They're reflecting on typically the sort of size and shape of Tabaxis, but also in the idea that they are not warriors. The Ada is, so it's surprising to see that Ada seems to be struggling to keep up, even with that half speed sort of movement. It's with the 7, it's hard to tell why. You're not sure if they're injured or if they're distracted.
Okay. I don't want to poke or prod while Kay's not here, so I'll wait to roleplay that later on.
Yeah.
But a thought does occur to me now that some time has passed. And as I hold the Rocky Talkie in my hand, it just now has dawned on me, how the hell could Hobbs reach out to me through Rocky Talkie when you need one of these to speak through in the first place?
Yeah. Roll me a general intelligence check.
I'm assuming you're just meaning regular intelligence modifier.
D20 intelligence modifier, yep.
Yeah. That's a 9.
Okay. The last thing that he mentioned was, who are you talking to?
He mentioned, who were you talking to?
That was the last thing he said to you.
Right. Okay. I mean, I'm gonna like. It's in my, it's in the bag of holding, so I'm not gonna pull it out. But I'm just gonna sort of think on it for a moment and just. I mean, the wires must have got. I mean, it doesn't have wires, but something must have got crossed there. I guess magic signals or something like that. I guess it's just. It's just something. I guess I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna. All right, I'm gonna. Well, shit, I don't know. As we're moving forward here, Joe, it makes sense to keep stealthy in this moment, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, if it's just so that you don't feel the pressure of like needing to start something, I would say assuming that just above board for a couple different reasons. One, both you and I's rolls have not been great, but also because Kay not being here, I'm fully fine with moving through the rotation.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah, makes sense. So you continue on moving through the pathway that is now starting to see these sort of like scattered sort of white pebbles on the either side. Ada seems to be doing the same, but with a little bit more trouble than you. Right. Green. I'm actually gonna do something here because I felt like this was a little too loud last time. Actually, it's the second act. I love this. Green. Coming back to you, we have the open or the at this moment closed sort of stage of this giant theater, seemingly still underground, although there's pieces that already seem to not really make sense. There's the looking back along the rows and rows of scattered seats that are coming up and up and up and up and seeming to kind of move out to nothing seems impossible. In this moment, before the curtain opens, what's going through your mind?
I think there's a good portion of me that knows that it's not real. I think we've encountered many things that they're not necessarily illusions, but they're not accurate representations of what we're seeing. So like the chair's going off into nothingness. Like I'm very much aware that, like I'm set up for something kind of, especially with the illusion of in the first act there's not really hands moving things, but it looks like there's hands moving things. Like there's clearly not a stage of people in like black leotards moving things around. If I'm waiting for the second act to start, I wanted to see if I could find a way to sneak backstage.
You have like 5 seconds. So this is more of just like what's going on through your mind.
Yeah, then that is on my mind of things I want to do. But I'm interested to see what Act 2 would... Like, what's considered Act 2? Like, what part of my life is next?
Okay. The curtains open. Spotlight hits, showing a figure with bright golden hair, pale skin. Give me a perception check, actually.
Not bad, not bad. Open. That's going to be a 22.
22. You notice that there is a significant amount of, from your vantage point, which I imagine you're like, kind of like in the first row.
Mm-hmm.
From your vantage point, you actually see that there's like eyeliner, a little bit of eyeshadow. There's some makeup here that is clearly kind of giving you the concept of like theater makeup quality. I'd say this figure you actually see looks like they're this like short hair seems to have a little bit of a like you can see like even the sort of like ends of this like sort of like crisp end of where it seems to kind of cut right off, giving you the idea that this might be a wig. But you see this figure dressed in normal sort of smock clothes, forgetting the word, but it's the normal sort of like play shirt. You see it starts with them, and we hear this far off cry. Figure turns. I say actually, it's just a small retcon. I'd say that the figure's probably facing away in this beginning moment, but turns and almost kind of faces the audience quickly in hearing that noise. Turns around and begins to make motions, this fake sort of movement of running, as we see other sort of strange, like paper mache like props seem to go by of stones and trees. And then we see a flash from stage left of this deep red light. There's other sort of distant sort of screams, the sounds of clanging metal. And we see coming out from that spotlight, running up to try to pull themselves into a scene, is another figure. The spotlight seems to almost kind of meld into two, or seems to spread out in showing a figure that at this point you get the concept, the idea of the first figure is you, and the second figure looks to be Xavier. You see the dark hair. The actor that they have playing this actually looks very much like the part, extremely sort of like muscular looking, kind of wide jaw. But that same sort of like theater makeup. As you see, as you recognize in this moment that this place seems to not have words, at least at this point. As you see, there is a moment of this figure standing and reaching out a hand. The stage version of Grian takes it, and from the opposite end of the screen you can see, or the opposite end of the stage you can see, even from the darkness, another figure comes running out. Actually, this figure is fully covered in black from head to toe. It seems to be brandishing a sword that, as it comes into the spotlight, you only see the sword. As Xavier flings Grian behind him, pushing to the other side of the stage, and then taking the slice from that sword. the actor Grian seems to give a visible, overacting sort of level of shock. Hands on face. You see Xavier drop to his knees. Grian, what's going through your mind in this moment?
I think there's a part of me that's watching this, and obviously it's sad, right? Like as a bystander in the play, I'm watching it. But at the same time, it's like, it might just be like actually me just confused, because it's like, that's not how I remember it happening.
Interesting.
It's a different detail.
You start to hear audience voices. You don't see faces or anything, but you start to hear as if they're further up behind you. You start to hear shock and like crying, weeping as this scene sort of starts to continue with Grian, you stage Grian, we'll say, like catching Xavier as he's falling to the ground, holding the back of his neck and weeping. As other sword flashes seem to go around him.
Yeah, I very much remember it as me stabbing him, because obviously it's something he beat himself up for years about. So this very Romeo and Juliet type Shakespearean experience is a noted difference in. Doesn't mean it's not how he felt and how he has felt, but if it's supposed to be like an accurate retelling, definitely taking note of like that as a difference.
Interesting. Do you do anything with this?
The other swords that are kind of like clanging around him, or around them, is it the same sort of like actor in a black cloak things moving, or okay?
Yep, it's just a bunch of like those sort of figures. Yeah, they're not even like, you don't even see faces. They're like the kind of like full sort of covered like from head to toe in black. So it's just the swords that you see.
Mm-hmm. Kind of in with the act without knowing or without thinking. And again, while it's not exactly he remembers it, he's beat himself over this multiple times every day. And there's a part of him that kind of climbs onto the stage and kind of gets between the swords, even if it means getting like low so he's not hurt. And I'm gonna settle up next to the Grian number 2 and put a hand on his shoulder. He's okay. I promise he's okay.
The actor, as you place a hand, you feel a physical presence, as if there is a real person there, a real figure there. And as both of you look on to the face of the fallen figure who is now, you see like red starts to kind of spill out from a wound onto the floor. Green, I'd like you to roll me a history check.
It's a 9.
You see the figure sitting there, eyes starting to close. As his eyes close, you don't remember if they got the eyes right. The figure starts to fall away. The spotlight seems to fade from his face. You're not sure how close of a likeness it was. You're really not sure. And as the curtains close, you keep the memory of there being a person that you loved, but you don't remember what they look like or what their name is. And we're going to pause you there. Okay. Adim.
Okay.
You're at sea. The rowboat around you seemingly just fit just enough for one person, maybe two. The stone that seems to be not entirely all that interesting, but still seems to have this pulling sort of effect, pulling you forward, has been guiding you to this point. You see ahead of you about 100 feet or so in distance, so you're 50 feet from the Misty Maiden, and 50 feet towards the Dragon's Prize, the ship that you spent a good amount of time on. I would like to know what's going through Adim's mind in this moment.
Once I silenced my phone, which I thought I already had, Deem has been kind of talking out loud to the sky, like just to the environment, because he thinks this isn't real. And once Kofi or Spirit Kofi or whatever we're gonna call it pointed forward, and I saw the Dragon's Prize, Deem probably just went, "Oh," and he stopped talking. He stopped talking to his surroundings. He is like, oh, man. He is quiet. The camera's probably seeing him look uncomfortable. He doesn't want to go this direction. But
so what's going on in his mind?
His mind, he has lots of concerns. After hearing and seeing what the other people have gone through, consciously, he's 100% convinced he's in a good place. But there's a part of him mentally, like, he's okay with his past. Like, gotcha. He's okay. Like, consciously he's there.
Because above board, you don't know what the others are going through.
Well, no, I meant before, like before with like
like when the team was with me, and yeah,
no, not what's going on now, but what happened before. Like,
okay, got it.
I saw Grian as a baby on the river, and like,
right.
But there's a part of him that is like, it's in the back of his head going, "But are you?" Like, he puts on a good front, But he's like, I'm fine. But seeing that he's going backwards, he's like, he just he doesn't feel real comfortable right now. He thinks he's going to be challenged in a way he's not used to being challenged. He's okay being challenged physically, but he's not so sure about where he's going. So he that's what's going on with him mentally inside. Like, part of him is like, you're fine, but there's a little thing saying, but are you really? Are you sure you are? So that's what's going through his head.
It is your choice, as the rowboat is definitely able to move with your control water, able to move much faster than the Dragon's Prize at its current speed.
Is the stone pointing at the Dragon's Prize or beyond the Dragon's Prize?
Looks like it's pointed beyond.
But the Dragon's Prize is here. I'm going to call ahoy, permission to come aboard, to see if there's a response. Because although it's saying I should go beyond it, it's still here. Like, why is it here? Is there something I need to know here? So do I get a response, whether it's verbal or whether there's a rope thrown down or like something? Like, is there a response like, I have permission to come aboard? Because this one I can't just jump on. It's a ship.
You see give me a perception check.
Okay. 19.
You see a cowled head look over the ledge towards your boat. Or towards your boat.
Do I
I'll tell you. Let me
sorry,
give you the scene.
I apologize. Okay.
You notice the figure seems to be small from this vantage. I'm sorry, I lost that already. What was the perception check?
19.
19. Okay, cool. You see, at first, you see the figure seems to be small, and then giving kind of like a shadow over the night sky that you're seeing here. But you see that there is, even like possibly from the reflection of the water gleaming off of some sort of light, you see what looks to be an inescapably and incredibly familiar gold tooth that seems to gleam from the mouth of this figure. You recognize them as the halfling figure that you had come to be at least acquaintances with the Dragon's Prize.
Yeah.
You see the figure throws down a rope.
Okay. I will do my best to use the rope not only to tie the rowboat I'm in to the ship so it continues and stays with it, since I seemingly can't breathe this water, but then I'll go ahead and climb up.
You got it. Cool. Makes sense, like making sure like everything kind of stays where it is. You notice as you start to climb up, the rowboat not having the push behind it would typically start to kind of like fall to the wayside or behind. It actually stays exactly put. As you expertly and very easily climb up the rope, and you come to the deck of the ship, as you see this little halfling man looking up at you, and in this very kind of fixed sort of toothy grin, he kind of motions his head over to a figure with a large tricorn hat that seems to be at the helm.
Captain Marcellus. I'm assuming I nod at him and say thank you, and still watch my back and keep my hands on pouches because I know this halfling, and I will walk over to Marcellus, the captain,
Okay.
not sneaking up or anything, but walking respectfully towards him. And when I get close enough, I just say captain.
So you walk up to the half-orc gentleman dressed in this this heavy sort of drab of over collection of what might seem, especially to you now, having spent some time on land, maybe a little gaudy. The everything being sort of like moth-ridden in the large sort of overcoat. But the half-orc, Captain Marcellus, which is exactly what looks like to be Captain Marcellus, looks in your direction as you say Captain. Just nods. Looks out past you. And seemingly is I think you get a point here, Deem, where there is an alien-like sort of wax museum factor here, where the figures are not, they are version images of themselves, but they're not acting. They're not showing the little idiosyncrasies that you probably spent so much time trying to pick up on the difference between sea life and land life. This figure is a fraction of that. But as the figure kind of looks forward, you do hear in a very familiar voice, "A ship is only as good as the captain. You cannot sail in every direction." And he reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out what seems to be a very similar stone to the one that you're holding in your hand. And he goes to hand it to you.
I'll extend my other hand to take it. To accept it, not to take it. I will accept it if it's given.
Yeah. It seems like that motion, like you will have to take. He's not going to drop it, but so you'll have to take it. But
Okay.
as you accept it here, that familiar sort of pull that you have immediately disappears.
The pull from the other stone, or
The original one, yes.
is there a pull in the new one?
No.
I take a knee. I put down the new stone and only hold the old stone.
As you let go of the new stone, the old stone, you notice that it seems to be pulling in a different direction than even the ship is going, the Dragon's Prize.
Okay. And then I'll change it and put down the new stone, put down the old stone, pick up the new stone.
Sorry, that's what you meant.
Oh, okay.
The new stone seems to be pointing west. The old stone is pointing what we were considering to be north.
Okay. Well, that's confusing as all hell. So Kofi's directing me. The stone is the one on the right. Kofi. Thank you, Captain. Will there be anything else?
Ship is only as good as its captain. You cannot sail in every direction.
And this ship has an amazing captain. And I will take both stones, and I will lower myself back to my little rowboat.
Okay.
And I have no idea which one I should do. I will put down the one Marsalis gave me, because in Adim's mind, although Marsalis did get me in connection with New Moon, I don't think he knew what he was getting me into with the rods. I think he was sailing through fog.
Tell me what you know about Captain Marcellus. What would Adim kind of assume from the personality, the even like kind of the way of life, like that sort of thing with the captain?
So what Adim knows, not a lot, because Adim was very much low man on the totem pole for a very, very long time on the ship. It wasn't until right before he was excused from the ship with his task that he had any sort of power on the ship or any kind of. He was respected in his work. So he never really got close to the captain. He always assumed the captain was a former pirate. He had no proof of that, but just things he said, the way he talked. The captain always treated him well. He wasn't beaten or abused or exploited. In fact, he was made to not use his Genasi magic to learn the ways to do things correctly. He wasn't allowed to cheat. So he was a taskmaster, but a loving one, and he wanted his ship to run well. I never knew, or rather, Adim never knew Marcellus to be doing anything particularly illegal. Like, he didn't skim off the top of things he was transporting. Whether he skimmed off the top of the money he got for transporting it, he didn't know. But the crates were always well stocked, well maintained, guarded. So Adim has a bit of he doesn't really know too much about his past, but he has a great deal of respect for Marcellus for the couple of years he was on the ship.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a history check.
Okay. 15.
Nice. With a 15, you remember a couple things come to mind as you're kind of deciding and trying to kind of come to terms with this. When you were first given the small chest that was holding the map to Raven's Run, Captain Marcellus had given you that in hopes for you to be able to complete the task. And it was a point when you were docked in Dare's Wharf, and all of the shipmates basically went to try to spend their time in Dare's Wharf, drinking, what have you, doing their, having their fill of land life for as long as they're there. Captain Marcellus stayed on the ship. You also remember a specific time, maybe one of the first times maybe that you had actually addressed the captain yourself, when there was a I would say there was something over the side of the ship that seemed to be curious or interesting or whatever. That's not the important part. But you, Adim, asked the captain if we should weigh anchor. Captain Marcellus responded, "What use is an anchor when you're born to sail?" With the 15, you get the idea that Captain Marcellus, if his will was any sort of notion of the idea of the stone that he gave you, he loved the open water and staying within, on the sea, in the wind.
That does not help.
That is the information.
Well, I'm no doubt. However, this, again, going back to based on what you said, plus this stone led me to this ship, which I got on, and I was given another stone. Okay, so I will. I'm curious. Do I recognize these waters of the sky?
That's a good question. I will give you an investigation check with advantage.
Okay. I'll check something really quick. If you don't mind. Where is it? There it is. I don't have spell, but good lord, my features and traits are lengthy. Okay. Where is this? There it is. Okay, no. Investigation. Okay. With advantage. Okay, well, my first roll was a nat 20. I'll take it.
Okay.
Because I can't do better. So,
yeah, that's
there you
go. Water's hard to say. I would say
right.
It does kind of give the deep sort of blue open ocean. There's only been a few times There's only been a few times when the waters have changed from that, and that's usually when you're like close to something. But the nat 20, looking at the sky, you get that same sort of eerie feeling. The concept of like looking at the constellations and the pieces that you would use to be able to kind of like find your way. It's very much like walking through a lucid dream and recognizing that patterns are not quite right here. This isn't real.
So that's not going to help me figure out what these two rocks are leading me? Okay. I was trying. Okay. Well, then Adim is just, he's going to take both rocks. He's going to go down to his rowboat. And he's not very smart. He's like, okay, the first stone led me to Kofi, which led me to Dragon's Prize, which gave me this new rock. So he puts the old rock down, uses the new rock, and goes in that direction.
Sorry, say that again?
He puts down the old rock. He picks up the new rock and goes in the direction that new rock is taking him.
Okay.
Because Adim is like, Jack and Adim are both like, I don't know. So Adim is trying to use, well, I'm following the path laid out for me. I'm taking the path that it seems I'm taking. So
okay.
He
as you take the new rock and assign it as your new compass point, your new sort of direction. You feel it pulling away as you're sitting in your room. You feel it kind of pulling away. You actually even feel at this moment like a gentle sort of like rock from the rowboat, just in reference as soon as you touch it, telling you to go west. If north was where you were going, it's going west. So you start heading out into that direction. We're going to pause you there.
All right.
Anthony.
Oof.
You are walking down a dark hallway, size that is only big enough for plenty big enough for your body, but only 5 feet across. You've been walking for some time without having the connection of a mirror to your right, but you are holding the mirror that you had won from the previous trial.
One is a strong term.
I was going to say given, but one is better than given. Acquired. What's going through Anthony's mind right now?
She's replaying the past conversations with little me and my mother and Abel, and just kind of, I think, sinking further into a little bit of despair of like, I'm a terrible person. And the image of liar being scratched into the mirror keeps flashing through her mind.
Continues each step echoing in the most monotonous, weirdly almost enraging. You purposely in this moment change your step just so that you're able to hear it off of a different time, so that it's not such a stabbing consistent sound in your head. There's a moment of a weird sort of internal level of excitement just to see something new up ahead, something that is different, before you're able to even comprehend fully what it is. It's a change, and thank God for that. That excitement sinks to a point of confusion, annoyance at yourself on even having your heart rate elevated on something as simple as a wall giving you a choice of left or right.
I'll ask the mirror again. Which is the way forward?
What do you think?
What way did you have me go last time? You let me go right last time, yeah?
Right.
Left.
So it's probably left.
Yeah.
Yeah, left.
I go right.
Okay. Oh, where why are you...
Are you watching me?
No, you're probably right. This is probably the... Yeah. No, this is... I'm fairly certain you made the right decision. Correct.
I made a decision. We'll see where it goes.
As you continue to walk, echoes starting again. Dreading. You see a familiar face to your right as the mirror rejoins you along the wall. What does Ianthe look like right now?
So her hair is normally kind of wild, but in like a accidental on purpose kind of way. You know, the kind of natural waves that people spend a lot of money and time trying to get. And now it's just starting to get like crazy looking. Because I think she keeps like running her fingers through her hair. Like when I get stressed, I do this a lot. So I think she's doing this a lot.
Hair just...
Yeah. There's a flush in her cheeks from walking, and maybe a little bit of anger, and breathing very heavily.
Do you keep walking or do you stop?
I stop and look at myself.
There's a weird sensation in your right hand that tingles, and I would like you to give me a perception check.
Okay. What are you? 17.
You feel a conscious choice to raise your hand to see if the reflection is indeed just a reflection. You see, in kind, the figure in almost perfect timing is to raise their hand towards you.
Does she have the bandage on her hand?
So your right hand or your left hand has the bandage on it?
It's my right hand.
Okay, sorry. Yes, it does.
I gotta touch it with, like, my right, not the palm, the curse part, but like my fingertips.
Okay. You feel that cold, lifeless glass. Then you notice something new happens. Something. Just the slightest. You almost couldn't get it, but with a 17, you see the slightest ripple move out from that contact point. About the same time, you see a darkened shadow appear just off the shoulder of the reflection of Ianthe. It seems to be moving forward. You see it raising a hand, something shiny, bladed, and it's moving towards the reflection. Creeping up behind it.
There's someone behind you. And I'm gonna look behind me.
You hear the reflection respond. There's someone behind you. You look behind you. You assume the reflection does the same, but you cannot see for sure.
Huh.
I'm going to say that this attack roll has disadvantage. What is your AC?
That's a good question. I think it's 47. No, it's 10.
47. Wow.
Yeah, I have really good AC.
That's really good.
No, it's 15.
15. Okay. $16 and a 19 on the dice. So.
Do I have time for a reaction?
You do.
I will throw up a shield.
Okay. Interesting choice.
I'm sure I have a spell slot for that.
I'll make sure you do.
Oh, I do. I do.
Okay.
I might have a free use of it too. No, I don't.
Okay.
Okay, I throw up the shield.
You cast shield in front of you. As you look behind you, you see nothing but the blank wall. Do you still cast shield?
Yeah, I think I cast it as I'm turning around because I'm so sure there's somebody behind me with a dagger.
You got it.
Or
Cool.
something.
Yeah, you cast shield. 16. So your AC becomes 20?
20, I believe. Let me check. Let me double check.
Plus 5, right?
I'm almost positive it's plus 5. Plus 5.
I'm gonna say just because of that, well, do you want to use your inspiration here?
No.
Okay. Yeah, you can't. What am I talking about? I'll say I'll allow you to make one of my die re-roll for that. It's up to you.
What happens if I get hit? Yeah, let's.
Okay, you got it. I'll re-roll the 19.
Okay.
So we truly need a 14 or lower.
Okay.
That's a 13 on the die. Good choice. You throw up the shield instinctively as you feel this momentary sort of terror of something that seems to be reaching almost into your mind and trying to pull something from it. But that shield blocks the feeling of the hands coming out around your head, and it has to move away from the light that is ricocheting off of you, the mirror, the wall, over and over again, as there is just a blast. Nothing happens. You feel you kept something from happening. But as you're staring at the wall, you're making this realization that there is nothing there.
How do I do it? Yeah, I probably would do it. I'm going to do a detect thoughts and cast that around.
Okay. You get nothing in response. You're facing, just for clarification, you're facing the stone wall.
Okay. Back to the mirror? Like my back is to the mirror?
Your back is to the mirror, yes.
Okay. I'll turn around and face the mirror again.
So you turn around and face the mirror. You see a figure that is not Ianthe. It's close. People say it's sometimes impossible to tell. You see Daphne. Hand still clutching a dagger, veil taken off.
Why?
If you don't know, you're worse off than I thought.
I think I deserve to hear you say it.
It's not enough that Celeste and all of its 50 inhabitants seem to revel at your feet, giving you anything you desire. You could have had anything you wanted there. Instead, you chose to bring your life with you to once again overlap mine. It's not enough that you have Celeste. You take our allies in Hossam, all the few that we had. You take our allies in Dare's Wharf. You can't seem to stop soaking up the sun around you, leaving me in the dark.
Don't forget that if I had If I hadn't stayed in Celeste, you'd be dead by now. You asked me to come find you. You put me on this path. If I'm outshining you, it's because you aren't bright enough.
Careful, sister. Maybe I'm beginning to like the dark. And I see that you are too, as you feel that same familiar pull from your right hand. She raises hers.
I've had a taste. I'm not sure yet if I want more or not. I admit it's not without its perks.
One must choose when to live and when to rest. Can't live in the sun and the moon. Either way, stay out. Disappears, leaving only you.
To think I was ready to apologize to you. And I'll storm off in the direction I was going.
Ianthe, give me a charisma saving throw. No, we'll say wisdom. Wisdom saving throw.
Oh. I'm so much. Oh my god, I'm so much better at charisma, though. Alright. Did I blow my inspiration having you do that reroll?
You did.
I should have done that.
Did you waste it? No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Okay. That's 9.
Ianthe, in the feeling of rage, despair, anger, surprise, confusion, all of the dark feelings that is revolving around your recent interaction with Daphne. I'd like you to tell me what sense gets blurred.
Ooh.
I allow you to choose.
I'll say hearing. She's so angry, like her ears are ringing.
Yeah, that's straight above board. That's exactly where my mind was at too. There's this rage that seems to bubble up and emanate through you. This innate magic that you've always felt like you only have maybe a sliver of it understood. It boils. It feels like it's spilling over. You feel your fingertips becoming sensitive. you start to hear this. It does not go away. You hear someone trying to speak to you. The familiar voice of the mirror, but first interaction, you cannot hear what it said.
I can't hear you now. I'll see you on the other side.
You continue forward. At this point, the idea of losing that sense. I think either you instinctively with one hand try to kind of grip to the wall. You're not blind, you're not, but there's a sense of just feeling like I need to understand where I'm at. Knowing if there was someone coming, maybe I could feel it in the vibration. You continue forward. Continue into the dark. I'll pause you there. Titian, come back to you.
Titian's just having a fun time eating ice cream right now. Totally just
You're
chilling.
You're at Graders.
Such an Ohio bull. Yeah. he's eating Boldy Bobcat flavored Grater's ice cream.
Can I tell you my board? I really was trying to think of like what's a universal ice cream, and I couldn't think in my head. Graders was just pounding in my head. That's it.
I mean, if anyone gets it, it's going to be the two of us. So.
Yeah,
a Cincinnati staple.
Shout out to Graders. A beautiful, beautiful place to enjoy your frozen milk.
What a great new sponsor.
Brought to you by Graders. Eat your ice cream, fucks. No, I'm just kidding.
Eat your ice cream. All right. No, you're not at Graders. You're moving further in the forest. I'd like a new perception check and roll better.
All right. Perception. That is a 17.
That is one better, I believe.
Just one better, but yeah.
You and Ada have been continuing for what feels like about 15 minutes. Path winding. There's a moment, Titian, where you have this kind of like deep sort of like feeling in your gut of worrying or wondering. Actually, so I've given it to everybody else. What is Titian thinking about right now?
I think Titian is thinking about... He's thinking about where the rest of the party is. But he's... I think very much thinking about this new individual that's come onto his path. And even though he's putting on that facade of being kind and affable, and he's also thinking about just a little bit, if I had to take her out, how would I do it? Like, what would be that first strike?
Yeah. As a good, I will say, adding to this a little bit, as any soldier would.
Mm-hmm.
Your initial instinct thinking about your friends and the connection from them, there is a deep, hard pit in your stomach that seems to be growing on the idea of moving down a pathway is either moving closer or further from your friends. It's one or the other. It's 50-50. Those are not great odds for what you're experiencing.
Oh, hey. Hey, Ada, or Ada.
I would like to kind of just reintroduce this scene a little bit as Kay is joining us. As you are both continuing down the path, Titian has noticed that Ada is having some sort of difficulty keeping up, a relatively low insight check after that to figure out exactly why. I'm just seeing that the little sort of moments of seeing Ada's form kind of moving through the bushes on the other side, the opposite side of Titian from the pathway, it seems to be staggered behind. I think as you are both moving along, you also notice that there are these white sort of like pebbles that seem to be lining on either side of the pathway. Even with the overgrowth of like the occasional sort of like grass or even like a large limb that seems to be in the pathway, the stones seem to find a way around or through or above them. Ada, before you answer, I would like you to tell me why you've been having trouble keeping up.
How does my mic sound, first of all? Great. Ada's having trouble catching up to Titian because I don't think that throughout this entire journey that she's been on, she's had to keep up with anybody else. I think that she has been able to go at her own pace and kind of set her own intensity or drive through the forest. And I think Titian sets a pace that maybe, as someone who is not a soldier, is a little quick for her in this moment.
Above board, you're both going half speed of what your normal sort of speed would be, but it is also only because of the terrain, like the difficult terrain, essentially. So it might be just Titian's able to be handling this a little bit better.
Understood.
In the few minutes that have been here.
Thank you.
Yeah. You hear this Leonin stranger call out to you from across the way. You guys are only about maybe like, I think I said 20 feet apart.
Mm-hmm. Ada.
What?
Ada. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear me from all the way back there. But so where the hell are we going right now? Are we sure this is the way to go, or?
I mean, she's gonna pull out her compass one more time, keep it kind of low and on her hip. She's not hiding it necessarily, but I don't think that she's kind of pulling out this thing of hers.
There's a lot of brush and things like that between you. I'm going to say there's still a separate perception check for Titian on that.
Okay.
All right, I'll throw a check. Okay, that will be a 25.
Am I deceptioning checking that?
No, I'll say the DC was set by me. 25. Yeah, you see it. It seems to be a silver-plated compass. You see the gleam of silver in the starlight. That's the little amount of light that you have here.
I mean, unless you're telling me that compass is spitting fire or anything like that, I'm just gonna assume like it just looks like a compass to Titian, so like he's not gonna question it. Is what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to leave room for Ada to, yeah.
As she looks at the compass, is it still pointing the direction that they're going?
Yes, it is. Actually, no. It's pointing at Titian.
Specifically.
It's been pointing at Titian.
Wait up. I fall into Titian's accent. Wait up. She's going to kind of move forward, like her best getting closer to Titian before she kind of moves the compass around, confirming that. Fuck.
Yeah, the needle points north, and that's how you know how you.
Do you think I'm stupid?
I be honest with you, I've known you for 2 hours. I don't know how smart you are yet. What's wrong with your compass there? Are you?
She clicks it closed. I don't know where we're going.
Fair. Well, that's great. Can I see your? Maybe I can help. I got some training in the thing. Can I?
No.
All right.
Would you hand over that bag of holding?
You mean the pack right here? No.
Hmm?
No.
All right, then. Don't ask me for my items. I won't ask you for yours. I don't know you.
Right. Let's just keep this polite for right now. I'm not trying to. I was just offering to help and just get a glance at it.
It doesn't go north. It goes where I'm supposed to go. And apparently I'm supposed to follow you. So do you know the way?
Ada, roll me a perception check.
Oh, Jesus. That's as low as it could possibly be. 9.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're focused on Titian at this point. But I will say, Titian with a 17. Sorry. Continue the conversation.
Sure. I mean, I was you were the one waving that thing around, so I just assumed you knew where you were going. But if it's on me, I guess I'll figure something else out. I think I heard something about moss on trees at some point, and maybe
Are we trying to make it to water?
I don't. Right now, I'm just trying to make it back to my party, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that. So,
would your party be near water?
No, Nadim probably. Yeah, he'd sniff that thing out really fast.
The Green Man.
Yeah, the Green Man. Yeah.
Great. Then, yes, we follow the side where the moss grows, where water is present.
I mean, yeah.
Great.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Moss.
All right.
As you check the trees, it seems like something that kind of like strikes you as odd is that plant life, anything that would be growing on the forest floor but also into the trees, doesn't really seem to touch these trees, as if the semblance of life itself wants nothing to do with whatever is here. However, the 17, you notice something odd, happenstance, almost impossibly coincidental. You notice that there is a mark on one of these trees, about your height. looks like a claw mark. So you see 5 deep, deep cuts. As if something was trying to grab hold of the tree.
Do the claw marks look roughly the size of my hand, or much bigger?
So I think you extend your claws out. They match almost perfectly.
Ada, I didn't ask you this earlier. Are you alone in these woods right now?
Yes. I was hoping not. I was hoping not to be, but yes.
Well, obviously you weren't waiting for me to help you out there. Who were you hoping to meet in these woods then? Because I think, and just judging by this claw mark right here, I'd like to know who you were looking for or getting ready to meet
Claw
up
mark?
with.
The claw
Yeah.
mark.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's gonna stumble forward to the tree. And she's just gonna kind of like... That's not yours.
Ada, roll me an investigation check. DC 25.
$19.
Good. So you look at this claw mark, and there's a wave of several deep emotions. Hope. Hunger, even. Momentary feeling of shame of even wasting even a little bit of moment and moving outside of the reason why you're here, conversing with another Leonin. As you run your hands along the tree, you can't tell. You're not sure.
Well, if it wasn't you, then there might be something else here.
Fair. Care to tell me who that might be, or what is out here with us right now, or?
I told you that the roar took something from me. Someone. You knew the legends? What becomes of those that don't leave?
I mean, I heard they just got lost out here, and
If they did and they survived, if they did and they didn't, either way, I'm looking for a body.
hold on. So you're actually hunting down that? Are you trying to say that myth was real about the lost group of Leonin that went to the creepy wood and didn't return? Are you saying that's not just a story?
I'm saying that lots of Lots of soldiers just follow orders.
If you're out here looking for the roar,
No. That is not what I said.
but you're looking for something the roar or someone the roar has, is it not the same? What you're saying? To find one, you have to find the other, correct?
Who knows? You once belonged to the Roar, assumedly. Do you belong to it now?
I can assure you I do not.
Then maybe they are different.
I can assure you the roar, they are not. Are you a part of the roar? And or
No. I mean, look at me. No.
Yeah, but just a real quick
Yeah.
reminder, but board.
I know. But I'm asking it because the roar is also working with Knowles in this moment. So it's like
I'm not
they've
here.
obviously drifted. They've relaxed their standards.
Yeah, Matt knows
a
his
little bit.
backstory.
I'm sorry.
Graders, Joe. Graders.
I'm going to Graders.
You're going to Graders.
Sometimes characters lie. No. No, I am not working with the Roar.
Do you support the roar?
Once, maybe?
Now, maybe?
No.
I'm gonna tell you. I told you this once, Ada, and I'm gonna tell you again. If you're misleading me, I'm friendly now, but I assure you, I can be very unfriendly if the moment calls for it.
You sound a lot like them, you know?
Sometimes to kill a monster, you gotta be a bigger monster.
I think she's gonna look him up and down at that. You're not scarier than they are.
Ada, roll me a d4.
2.
A gleam of metal in the path catches your eye. About 30 feet away.
What is that? She's gonna... I don't think that she runs towards it. I think she begins to walk as casually as she can.
I'm gonna say you need to roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. Because that's a rogue's greatest stat ever.
It's a low DC.
I would love to give you my +4, but I'm sorry, we're not allies.
Where
just
was
yet.
this nat 19 when I needed the DC 25? Where was it? Please. Yeah, that's just gonna be a dirty 20.
Your heart skips a beat. You see it. But you know you need to keep expectations realistic. And you need to keep your guard. You need to keep things status quo for as long as you can. So your heart moves at quadruple the speed of your feet as you maintain your composure in moving forward.
I think before she even reaches whatever it is, she's looking off the path for movement. That isn't her, Titian. She's looking for a shadow. She's looking for a rustle. She's looking for an animal displaced. Anything.
Okay. I'll allow a new perception check for that.
15.
Okay. You don't see any shadows, nothing else moving, and as you're moving forward, Lee's staying in front of Titian. Are you keeping pace?
I'm keeping pace. Excuse me. But very intentionally keeping Ada in front of me and keeping a full view on what Ada is doing.
Okay.
To me, Ada is possibly the biggest threat right now.
Sure. How much room? Give me a number.
Let's say 10 feet.
Okay. Ada, with a 15, first 5 steps, you don't see anything surrounding you that feels like a trap. I think the next 5 steps you don't care, as you see what looks to be a broken battle axe on the path.
I think if possible, I realize that we're in like a roughish terrain. I think she does her best to sprint to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think she falls to her knees, but I think it's as damn close as you could get while still maintaining composure, or the semblance of it. I think that she leans down and inspects it, like almost too afraid to touch it at first. I think what she's looking for is
I'll ask you this.
yeah.
How familiar would you be with this?
Oh, I would say it's not her weapon. But I think if it's what she's looking for, she's seen it enough that she would know.
Was there
She
any
would know the
distinguishing
where.
marks?
I think she would know a gouge in the metal underneath the wrapping where it was rewrapped to kind of hide the like the mar in the craftsmanship.
Okay. For that, I'm going to roll something in the box here. 11 or higher, you get advantage on your investigation check. It's a nat 1. The mar that you're describing will be on the broken part of this plate. However, I will allow you to roll me an investigation check. Same number, DC 25.
Oh god. 14.
You're not sure.
I think as she's crouched over this broken weapon, I think what the camera and Titian would see is just like her tail twitching, like with anger. And I think you see her lift like a piece of this, and she almost tosses it off the path. But she stops herself and just lets it drop to the ground as she stands.
What? All right. What is Titian has like full sword drawn in this moment after seeing you in a conversation just dead ass sprint away to a broken axe in the ground. All right. So what is happening here?
I thought it might be his.
Who is him? Like you keep
My husband.
Like so okay. So you're out here looking for your husband then?
Why would anybody else come out here?
It's I don't know. But you've been kind of caged. Why does the roar have your husband?
He was a soldier.
So your husband's in the roar.
Yes.
What was his name? Or is his name? Sorry, I shouldn't assume he's dead.
It's been a decade. He might be. Kenos.
Kenos. Yeah, I don't think there's...
Criminal history check.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to assume... I mean, the roar's thousands, if not thousands, hundreds, so it's like... that's a 16.
Okay. I'm going to say with a 16, that name sounds familiar, but just in the ether of whatever strand you'd be able to kind of grasp to memories. You feel like you've heard that name before, but you have absolutely no idea in what regards to. And it feels like it's something that may have not been very important.
So is this just, I can just make up something, right? Yeah.
No.
No.
I'm saying I know what it is. You don't.
Kenos, there must be. I
mean, you can if you want to. Like, just
no, it's
guess.
all right. It's all right. No, I was gonna say, yeah, that name. It's kind of. I can't say I crossed many paths with him while I was, but I mean, if your husband's in the roar, though, that does mean you support the roar, right?
No. When he... You know, you're asking very personal questions.
Yeah, we're either going to make fast friends or fast enemies here, because I got to know who I'm walking with.
When he disappeared, he left me a note, and I thought maybe he'd find his way back to me, and he didn't. And I went and I tried to talk to them, and they pushed coin into my hands and told me to be quiet. So I left. And I swore that I would find him.
I'll pause you right here. Titian. You see Ada's mouth continuing to move and explaining. But you hear another voice. Looks like he was once like you. But history doesn't remember them, do you? Wonder. Is history gonna remember you?
You know, for someone who's so smart, Hobbs sure are really fucking stupid.
You say this out loud?
I'm just saying it out loud.
Ada, you hear Titian randomly interrupt you and say that.
Who the fuck is Hobbs?
What?
You know, Hobbs, for someone so smart, you're actually so stupid. Who the fuck is Hobbs? I'm out here pouring out my have you even been listening to me?
Yes.
I feel like you're lying.
No, sorry. Your husband is here. I got interrupted. I apologize. I didn't. That was.
Oh, so you're hearing voices.
I've been known
Who
to.
am I walking with?
I've been known to hallucinate a time or two, but I'm not crazy, and I promise you that.
That is exactly what a crazy person would say.
I've had a rough few months, and it's okay.
You've had a rough few months. How old are you?
Oh, who's asking the personal questions now? I guess.
Well, I divulged everything I had about my husband, and you were not listening. And I ask a simple question about how long you have been alive and conscious on this earth.
I'm 25, okay? Is that what you want to hear?
Oh, dear God.
What? Hey, but I've lived enough to know a thing or two. Let me tell you that right now.
You were a cub.
No, I'm full-grown Leonin here.
You were a cub.
Well, so were you, Tabaxi. Like, we were all cubs, right? Like, that's nothing...
When my husband went missing, you were a child. And now, I'm here. And you're here for seemingly some unknown reason looking for a green-skinned man.
Oh. Okay. All right. I can see this is not going. We've chosen not to be productive now. That's what I'm saying right now. We've chosen to take things a little bit more personally than we need to. I'm sorry that your husband is missing, and I'm happy to try to help. But I also got folks missing from my life too right now. Not to mention a few other things going on. And if I'm being honest, I'm feeling a little judged, and you don't know who I am. You don't know what I've gone through recently.
Titian, wisdom saving throw.
Oh, fuck. Alright. 12.
Check here. Yeah.
I got it, yeah. Hold on. You're saying you were actually married to Kenos? Is that what you're telling me?
Why is that surprising?
Ada, you know why that's surprising.
I repeat, why is that surprising?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been out of the roar for a few more years, and they've definitely lowered their standards a little bit and relaxed some things. But last I was there, they didn't let members of the roar marry Tabaxi.
Not forbidden, looked down on. He loved me. The roar was his work, I was his world.
The roar is nobody's work, though. You can't just check in and out of that job, Ada. It's not like you can just punch in and punch out of the tendon bar in the tavern. This is something that is your life when you're in the roar.
He chose me despite better advice.
You hear Hobbs' voice. Yeah. You think you're better than the roar. You know you still fight like them. And interestingly enough, it seems like you still think like them.
Every time Hobbs' voice comes, Titian just looks slightly to the left of Ada, and it's just sort of in a blank stare. No, that's not what I'm saying. I don't think like the roar. I'm just pointing out some inconsistencies. I'm nothing like the roar. This is not what I'm getting. I think it's wonderful. I'm just trying to.
Am I going to have to suffer? Am I going to have to suffer you lecturing me about my life and then look off and talk to the voices in your head?
No,
because if that's the case, I'd rather not have this conversation.
No, I'm not lecturing. I'm just trying to. I don't know who you are, and I'm just trying to make sure I'm not being lied to or I'm not going into danger, because every time I turn around, we're getting fish thrown at us. We're tying shit around trees. We're getting stabbed by ghosts. We're walking through every time we turn around as a group, something's happening to us. And I just don't want you to throw me down an elevator shaft or something like that in the near future. So I'm just trying to figure out who I'm traveling with so that I can have some semblance of safety. If Kenos is your husband, that's wonderful. That's great. But I just need you to know if he's a member of the Roar, he's probably not going to like me, and I'm trying to express to you that it'll probably be on site.
If he's been here 10 years, if he's still here, I very much doubt his loyalty to the Roar. They left them here to die. If he had already chosen me, he had one foot out the door when he left. I do not know if we will find him, and I certainly do not know if he will fight you on sight. You are the least of my concerns. But apparently I'm supposed to follow you.
And how do you know that? You haven't explained that part to me yet.
Because you are not the only one who has seen the ferryman and the fish.
So that's why some fish were missing. You okay. I think you probably took Jet's fish, but that's fine.
Who is Jet?
He's you're already stuck on the
Listen-
green man. I don't want to keep throwing curveballs at you. I just want to. Okay, Jet's another member of my party. There's like 6 of us total. So,
You brought 6 people in here.
well, don't you think it'd be better to travel in numbers through this sort of
Fine.
situation?
Well, apparently not. You're separated. But okay. Yep.
Well,
Mhm.
the road is what separated us. We tried our best to stay together.
Shocking.
We did everything but tie ropes around our waists while walking.
I doubt that would have worked.
It probably wouldn't, because there's obviously magic stuff going on around here, and the magic's stronger than ropes. Last time
It's
I
obnoxious.
looked, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's annoying.
It's very bad.
Let's find your party.
Okay.
I'm
Let's
obviously
find-
not finding what I'm looking for.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to propose. All right. We keep walking. If we encounter your husband, Kenos, if we encounter any signs of him, like I'm assuming that broken axe down there, bad craftsmanship, by the way. If we encounter any more signs like that or a claw mark in a tree, we will follow that. Otherwise, we'll just keep looking for signs of my party, and the first one we come across, we'll just follow that. Is that
Fine.
okay? I'm usually better with people right now, and I'm sorry. Maybe you were
It's a
catching me on a
stressful
bad day.
situation.
It's not a great situation. I just don't know. Okay.
I'm usually nice.
Are
Enough,
you?
anyway.
Yeah.
Nice enough.
Mm-hmm. Let's just keep moving forward. I think maybe these white rocks, who seem to be in hold on, out of character. The white rocks, they feel like they've been intentionally placed, right, Joe? You said they go around
You
things.
want to roll an investigation check?
Sure. There it is. Investigation is 0. Okay, that is a 16.
You're moving and talking with Ada, having this momentary sort of spot of connection, understanding. A possible ally. This doesn't interrupt into your mind. There's no equivalency of a saving throw in Titian's head to force the look down. It's just mild curiosity. You notice the pebbles, the varying shapes and forms, some sharp, some seemingly rounded. I mentioned before they're bone white. Very bone white. As you bend down, and let them crumble into your hands. You smell that familiar smell. Burnt hair and dried bone. And with that, we're going to take our 10-minute break. See you guys in 10.
I want to see what's happening with y'all.
Grian. As the curtains shut, blocking out the face, this figure that you can't quite name. Your thoughts are interrupted by thunderous applause. Stage Grian puts a hand on your shoulder. You're not supposed to be here. Please go and sit with the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as I take my seat, Grian has had a long running list of people who he's slept with or done whatever, and it's one of those, doesn't quite remember their name, doesn't quite remember their face, but it's happened. And there's this moment for him that Xavier kind of gets added to that list. So, like, could he see him in a crowd and recognize him? No. Would he know who he is? Probably not. As one does. But, yeah, I think it's definitely moved from one list to another.
Yeah, I think I'm going to continue to describe what's on Grian's mind as you come out to the side of the stage and start to kind of like walk back down to the steps to rejoin the audience. If that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm going back to my chair. And just part of him is thinking he doesn't know what's next in this play. Part of him is thinking, like, well, who was that now? The other part of him is like, was this man that unattractive that I just don't remember him? Like, so there's kind of a list of probably defense mechanisms as well as realizations or actualizations of who this man could have been.
Yeah, I think there's a thought that kind of crosses your mind as you do know this man existed. But was it so important that would take place in this play? Certainly not. You come back out and you find your seat. A seat. And you wait. Curtain lifts once again. Stage lights gleam with a subtle glow. You see a backdrop of grayish brown stone. Spotlights come down, centered in random places on the stage, but immediately we see reflections, glittering colors against the walls, against the seats, against the backdrop. The shine and reflection of gold. Just standing on a manufactured, unsteady collection of boards pieced together to look, to feel treacherous, but only standing about 5 feet off the ground. We see Stage Green. Spotlight caught on him, staring down. A pile of gold. The light from the bottom shoots up to show his face as if immersed in that golden splendor. You see the figure reach. You hear a scream from the crowd as the figure reaches and falls into the pit. Out of the gold, we see figures dressed in white. Carrying, which you can tell to be stage prop pickaxes. As one swipes across Grian's face, an emotion quick enough to get the picture, but slow enough to know it's fake. You see Grian's face move theatrically and fall to the gold. And then we see another figure climb down a rope to the top of the deck and walk on it, but not on 2 legs, but on 4. Wearing a mask with pointed triangle ears. You can tell the figure seems to be physically fit, some sort of similar to like the body style of like a trapeze artist. So the figure leans down, and with another hand holds onto the edge. It seems like they've set this up to where the long tail is just long enough to brush against Stage Grian's face to wake him up. You see Stage Grian reach out, grab the tail, start pulling himself up. In terror, clutching onto the figure as the cat-like creature starts to pull himself up. But as Grian grabs the deck, he pushes himself off from the face of this creature, pushing down, down. As he puts one foot down, he has a foot up. He's safe. But he makes a sudden, violent push off from this cat creature as it tumbles down and hits the goal. The white figures with pickaxes all raise them up. Grian, what do you do?
Mentally, I think I recall. Like, I don't recall this specifically, but it's not a whole lot I can do. Do I get the sense that this cat figure is Titian?
No.
'Cause it seems
All
it
in
seems
black.
like two. Okay, then I guess I know who this is. There's not a whole lot I can do. Because I'm debating, like, do I attack and intervene or just like let it happen? Like, that's where my mind is at. I am going to fuck with the scene, I guess. I'm going to Eldritch Blast the pickaxe. The miners. I'm gonna Eldritch Blast the miners.
Okay. They're commoners as far as a stat block. They get knocked against the wall. Everyone freezes. The figure that seems to represent Panthera kind of sits up, surprised, terrified. The music stops. All eyes are on you, Grian.
This isn't right. This isn't how this happened. She's still alive. And she's out there.
And how can we credit that source? This voice seems to fill the entire room, echoes against the silence that is deafening.
Because she left us. And I have to believe that she's okay out there.
You.
All I caught was you. So if you said anything other than that word, I don't.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Who I am is a man on a mission. So as we're in this, wrap up this intermission, I have places to be.
You stay and watch. Who are you to interfere?
I'm the writer.
Roll me a persuasion check.
It's a 14.
I think not. See the curtain fall. You hear clapping. It's not as uproarious as before. Green, what are you feeling in this moment?
I'm not confused, but curious. Because this is the first voice I've heard the entire time to this wordless play. And the only time I've talked to anybody or had any kind of response is just now to someone whom I don't know and can't see, can't touch, all I hear is this disembodied voice. So I'm thinking, like, where is this person? How much control do they have? Is it a person? Or is this the forest?
As you hear the clapping, you notice that it is lessened. Give me an insight check.
Motherfucker. It's a 23, which I could have used earlier.
The 23, as the curtain closes, you recognize a change. And you're looking at the perspective of your story. You are the writer. But you didn't write this. You feel with that insight check that the assumption was that this disembodied voice, whatever the ephemeral or real, or ethereal or real depiction of this voice, was claiming ownership over your story. The audience is now confused. It's a start. We'll pause you there. Adim.
Yes, I'm here. I am he. I'm the Green Man.
Green Man.
May I ask you a question to clarify before you start?
Sure.
Is the direction I'm going not the same direction as the Dragon's Prize was traveling before I used the new stone?
Correct.
Good. Okay, I'm good. Wanted to make sure I understood correctly.
Please roll me a d4.
That was a 1.
Okay. What is Adim's goal in life?
In
Let's
life.
say that all of this is. There's gonna be a lot of things that I'll say. Wait till I finish on this.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
It was an exclamation of shock. Go ahead.
If all of this was to be over, and the darkness, the sense of... No, I won't even go that far. What does Adim think is his purpose right now?
Right now.
Mhm.
Finding New Moon.
Why?
Because they're stronger together.
We'll RP this.
Okay.
As you continue into the open ocean, there's moments where you start to hear seagulls. You see, looking down, you see occasional fish swimming along. In the distance, you're not entirely sure. You see something jump out. Could have been a dolphin, could have been a little bit of a whale. There's an understanding that that Adim recognizes that this isn't real. But I would say there is a minute little piece, little sense it's close. You said your intention is to get to New Moon because you're better together. There's a piece in your brain that is not personified in any voice. Just the thought of logic. Weighing the pros and cons and understanding the outcomes. Where is the proof that New Moon is stronger together?
Do you want me to respond to that, or am I waiting? You want me to respond? Okay. He since there's that niggling doubt in the back of the nagging doubt in the back of his mind, it's he will actually probably he's fighting with himself mostly because of his hyper independence. That's probably that nagging doubt. Like, you're fine, you don't need them. You know, just because of the way he was raised, or wasn't raised, depending on how you look at it. But Alyssa actually comes to mind.
Okay.
I don't think that any one of us could have gotten Alyssa where we got her to and got her to through what we went through while teaching her the things we were able to teach her. And that's the proof.
Okay. Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Wisdom save.
I'll give you advantage, actually.
Okay.
That
Well,
answer.
first roll is a 17, but the second roll is a 18. I'll take the 18, I guess. 18.
You're noticing a subtle change in the air. It starts with smell. You didn't realize until this moment that you typically smell the salt air before anything else, but it comes to you now. But it's wrong. It's not real. There's a difference between what the air smells like when you're close to shore and what it smells like when you're in the open ocean. And this is melding the two, or it's a brief glimpse, a sample of what that's like. Something's trying to let you feel at peace, to let you drift off into the sunset. With that saving throw, you recognize that it must have been about an hour since you've gone in this direction. That was what the 1 was for, by the way. So, following intention. More intention than a right or wrong choice. Because as a DM, you're making this realization, you recognize that if you didn't focus on the intention, drifting off into open water be a nice way to live. Could be a nice way to die. But your intention is what brings you back to the reality. As you know, given what you want, you're holding the wrong stone.
Okay, well, I take the stone that I'm holding, I put it down, and I say, "Thank you, Marcellus." And I pick up the other stone because I didn't let it go, because Dean's not thick, but he's not completely stupid. He's thick, but not completely dumb. And so he keeps the other one just in case, and starts thinking, I need to get through this to get back to New Moon. He's melding the two because there's obviously a test of some sort. He's not sure what that is, but he wants to get through the test to get back to New Moon.
Yeah. As you switch, and so just notably, I knew what you meant, but just for the sake of everybody above board, so you placed the stone that Captain Marcellus gave you somewhere else on the rowboat, and you picked up the original one that you had.
Yes.
And then
And And in Adim's thinking, it's okay. I thought I was trying to follow the path, but if this path is about my intention, then I need to go from where I started. And this was the first thing that I had, so let's go, let's do it. Like where, and because of the realization that something is trying to make it comfortable, and I just say, okay, let's get through this. I need to get back to out loud again. I'm talking to the air. Okay, let's get through this. I need to get back to Newland.
Yeah.
And I talk to whatever may or may not be listening.
Yeah, there's a moment where you actually like have this weird sense of like as you pick up the other stone, there's been interactions. Like when they're both together, you feel nothing, as if the pull seems to cancel each other out, like interrupt each other. So grabbing the other one, you know that there's a significant shift, and you're doing something else other than what something wants.
Yeah, it seems like it wants me to fall. Yeah.
But there's also another point, because I'll say you rolled pretty high on this. I'm going to give it another sort of thing of like, it actually never did anything but hand it to you.
Yeah.
So as you're holding the other stone and controlling the water, going back to what we'll call north,
Okay.
you're waiting. If it wanted you to go somewhere else, if it wanted you to drift off into nothing and disappear and be lost in this forest forever, as you remind yourself, maybe at a point of like pieces like falling away from the amount of time that you're at sea, you remind yourself you're in a forest.
Yeah.
This isn't real. So if it's wanting you to spend the rest of your life wandering the forest, then it would put something in your path to keep you from going the right way. So as you hold onto the stone, I think there's a moment, Adim, where, especially in the danger sense of blindsight, everything that's built around the idea of your character, of being aware of surroundings constantly. Wait for it. A wave, a sea creature, a monster, like lightning to come down from the sky, something to be in your way, to try to keep you from going on what you deem to be the path you want, because that helps solidify knowing that you're going the right path.
Yeah.
Nothing comes. All you see off in the distance it seems large at first, but as you get closer, you notice that it is looks to be a piece of coral connected to hopefully something on the ground. It looks to be alive. It's not turning white or anything. It's a deep green, I'll say. As you get closer to it, you see it's about this high off of the water. You see another different color, a deep red. You notice in the very far off distance, as you're passing by these little pieces of coral, a sandbank. And it looks like your little rowboat is moving towards it.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see, unless there's something else you want to do, you make it there.
Do I recognize the coral from anything I knew before about it poking up out of the sea? I mean, I know the coral memoriam. I think that's the name you gave it. But that was underwater. Do I recognize anything
Right.
from the coral popping up?
Have you ever seen the Reef in Memoriam?
In a dream.
In a dream. Okay.
I'm not sure, but you said in the dream I recognized it
Okay.
as it.
Cool.
So I'm assuming that somehow I'd seen it. I knew about the crabs on it, and etc.
Yeah.
So,
So I'll say history check. You have advantage.
okay. 11 or 4. I'll take the 11, I guess. 11.
What you remember about the recognizing of the Reef Memoriam, I assume it was when you were underwater, or in the dream it was underwater, right? You remember it stood miles high from where you would be on the ocean's floor. The story goes that it goes all the way up.
Okay.
I'll say this, you're not entirely sure until your rowboat hits the sandbank if you let it.
If that's where... Is there still a pull from the stone?
Mm-hmm.
I will let it, but I let it do so gently. I'm not going to careen into it. I'll slow it down so it gently comes up, and I'll pull it on shore a little bit.
As you do, you notice that not necessarily in the area right where you pulled in, but in response to that even gentle hit, you see the entire sandbank shift slightly.
Am I in the back of a crab?
You're not in the back of a crab.
Okay. Okay, well, it's going to be a very strange comment from Adim, but Adim will make sure he solidly has the stone because he doesn't want to lose it yet. And he holds his breath and goes underwater,
You got it.
which he's never had to do before.
I'm going to tell you, you take a full gulp of air and you dive down. And we're going to pause you there.
Okay.
Beautiful. Hi, Anthe.
Yes.
That consistent sound in your ear, blocking you from being able to hear much of anything. Unfortunately, the one thing it does not seem to block out is you are not totally deaf, is the sound of your footsteps. What is going through Ianthe's mind right now?
I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm never wearing heeled boots again. I can't handle this sound anymore.
Yeah. It mixed with the actually, as your bard level, I'll say that the sound, the very, very, very slight and quick note that it is playing seems to be often enough that you're able to notice it is the most discordant two sounds, is a tritone from the whirring that you're hearing in your mind.
Can't even harmonize with that.
That was for all my music lovers out there. Yeah, I would say give me a perception check, but unfortunately it is a lot of the same as you're continuing to move. Down, forward, clop, 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 clop. Once more. This point not giving any sense of relief as you've become very familiar with its shape as looming in the distance. It's that blank wall, making you choose once again, left or right.
Left.
Okay. As you hear it, or as you come close to it, you hear very much like almost like sounding like underwater sort of thing. You're not choosing. You made a choice. I think above board, and you can tell me if you want to switch. This is totally fine. But you're not trying to hear this mirror. So as you hear the I'll give you a choice, Anthony. Do you try to listen to it?
Yeah, I'll try to decipher something.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
Uh, 15.
Okay. The 15. It's warbling out, but you hear left. I'll say
I go left.
I would say for the sake of, because obviously the DM knows what you were going to choose, right? So I'm going to say that in game you had chosen the left before you heard that.
Yeah. And I there's a moment of hesitation where I'm like debating about being defiant, but I go to the left.
As you're starting to walk, I'd like you to give me a separate perception check. I'll say this is with disadvantage.
Great. I don't need that disadvantage.
Roll high, I believe in you.
Yeah, that one's okay.
Or don't. Maybe that's what the story wants to go.
9?
Okay. Cool. Clop. 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 You start to hear the shifting sort of sound, but it's a little bit too late. I need you to give me a dexterity saving throw as the floor below you starts to rumble and break right beneath you.
No, I'm not good at those. Shit. Oh, okay, 21.
Beautiful. With a 21, that was very good. With a 21, you're
Yes,
able to
it
kind of like grab onto the brick as it is falling beneath you. You see for a moment, just for a second, you're looking down below you and seeing nothing but utter blackness. You could be falling forever for the rest of your life as you scramble with all of your might to grab on and to hold tight there and collect yourself from the cave-in that, or trap that seems to have fallen below you. You're able to like hold yourself up by the shoulders, and I'd like you to give me a Constitution saving throw.
Those I'm good at. Those I'm okay at.
Low DC. Well, DC 11, I'll tell you.
Okay, I can do that. Yeah, 18.
18. Anthony, what holds you together from gaining a point of exhaustion here? And what would have been massive damage if you rolled low on your dex?
Massive damage that I can't afford to take.
Yeah.
She's looking down into this darkness, and that panic about heights is coming back, and she kind of remembers flying through the trees and that desperate, almost exhilarating feeling of getting to quote unquote Daphne's body. And it kind of gives her just a little bit of strength to like pull her up.
Okay. Pull yourself up. I will say, because of the beautiful rolls there, the moment that feeling, the whatever was disconnecting you from the rage, those pieces have now been filled with something else, and that is a desire to survive. So your survival instincts kick in. You're able to push yourself up, but not only that, you also notice that whirring sound seems to have gone away.
I'll amend that and say maybe a little bit of like brattiness, but not just a desire to survive, but a desire to win.
Okay.
Like, I will not lose to you.
Beautiful. Who are you saying this to?
Right now, the mirror. Like her mirror
The mirror that
self,
you're
the mirror
Or the
images,
mirror
not the one I'm holding, the one I keep running into.
The one you keep running into. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You will not beat me.
Beautiful. I think this confidence as you start to kind of walk back to that point now, starting to kind of choose the right hand path, you start to hear the mirror. I'm sorry, I could have sworn it was left. I was so sure. I'm so sorry to have led you astray.
I appreciate your help, but I'm choosing my own path. Don't blame yourself for my choices.
Still, it doesn't feel good to almost be involved in someone's falling forever. Give me an insight check.
Oh, God. I believe that's an 18. Yes, 18.
Nice. Killing it. Beautiful. An 18, you realize
you're picking skills I'm good at.
Yeah, well, hey. You are actually. But as you're walking back, you notice something odd about the voice. When it came in, when you first came to this area, it was very recognizable. It sounded just like the voice that you heard outside before, the first time you walked with it. But there's a moment of thinking about the impossible darkness below that you saw. Everything up until this point was plausible. It's possible that these mirrors are here. It's possible that I'm seeing the light of that. It's not, I mean, it's even possible that I'm seeing reflections of these figures that aren't real. But I made the mirror ripple. And that black was impossibly black. This isn't real. And neither is the voice I'm hearing from the mirror.
I don't know if I've ever asked this, and I should have. Does it sound like someone I've met before?
We have distinguished that it was not a voice you recognized.
Okay, cool. I couldn't remember.
Well, let's have some fun with that. Go ahead and roll me a history check, DC 25.
Okay, I'm almost pretty. I think I have to roll a natural 20 for that. I do.
Yeah, I like it.
I do. How about a 2?
It's one of the numbers.
That's the number.
You did not.
No, I have no
this
idea.
entire time. So you continue, right?
I do.
You see the mirror. You see the mirror come up once again on your right side, following along with you. It looks like you.
I keep walking, but like giving it a side eye every, I don't know, 10 seconds or so.
Roll me a perception check. I'll give you advantage.
That's a D12. That's not helpful. That one's messed up. Cool. 20 total.
20 was the DC.
Hey!
First time you look at it, looks just like you. Second time, just like you. Third time, you caught the reflection off guard just for a second, and there is a millisecond of recognizing that it is not looking in your direction. But then it does. But it is disconnected from you.
You're not watching close enough.
You're not watching close enough. So you see the figure shift to something else. Something ethereal at first. It's just smoke and fog. It takes a while to collect, I think, in Ianthe's point of view at this moment, maybe a frustrating amount of time. So it collects into the shape of a little girl. Dark hair. Eyes, even in this black and white visage, seem to be brighter than everything else. Ianthe.
Hey, kid. I thought I might see you here.
I'm scared. There were people that came into the village, and I saw metal, and then I saw nothing. Now I'm here. I'm scared. Can you hold me? I can't. See her put her fingers up to what feels like glass. I can't reach you. Can you go closer?
I'll hold my hand up to the glass.
Okay. In that moment, as you hold your hand up to the glass, there's a sudden realization. Give me a wisdom saving throw.
I'm running out of D20s to reuse. God, I suck at these. God, I suck at these. 16.
16 does not make it. It's close. I think it's close enough to recognize a second too late. You didn't leave Alyssa in a village.
No.
As you feel her hands reach out and grab at your head and squeeze hard into your mind. you see her eyes catch on fire, flames that seem to reflect off of the light. Everything else gets brighter. As you take 16 points of psychic damage.
Ooh, ouch.
You see as she's holding on to you, her eyes kind of like bright red. You see an evil sort of grin that comes to you. You're gonna stay in here with me forever. Flash of light. Massive headache. The brain feels like it was pushed together. She's gone.
The mirror is still there? Or is it a wall now?
Actually, no, I'm sorry. Good point. I apologize. The mirror would have shattered at that as well.
Okay, I was gonna try to break it, so never mind.
Yeah.
She's okay. She's okay. Right? Just kind of ask in the air.
I think, honestly, because you've done the mechanics enough for this. 16 was close to the DC. That wasn't her.
Yeah.
She wasn't left in a village.
Not paying close enough attention. Okay. Keep going.
As you pick yourself up, so you probably fell a little bit to the ground here, at least to a knee.
Yeah.
As you pick yourself up, there's a moment of recognizing they messed up. Whatever thing, whatever entity, whatever version of some intention here to keep you wandering these halls, to connect on the idea of everything being real. They messed up. Ironically, as you stand up, continue to move forward. Hand now running along the walls. Smile comes to your lips, Ianthe. You're hurt. You're broken. Which means you can get to the end. And with that, it's a little early, but with that, we're going to end tonight's session. And we'll see you all next week.